this
Great.
great entrepreneur group of valued people that come in all different shapes and sizes and entrepreneurs. We have another great guest today. Who's our guest?
Yeah, our guest today is Tom Shannon from the Omnia, which is a up and coming emerging augmented reality startup business that's connecting augmented reality creators with business owners that need that type of content. So I've had the pleasure of working with your other co-founder, Aldo, back in 2022 on a few things around product. And it's just so amazing to see that your guys' product progress. And we figured, hey, let's have you on, showcase all the great news that you guys have been doing, and really see where the future of augmented reality is going to take us. Because I started an augmented reality business before I as my first
Wow.
startup, and but that morphed into e-commerce and product content. But it's great to see that you guys are really starting to bring it into the forefront, and now that the technology is finally here. So I'm really excited for our guest today, Tom Shannon. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Oh, thanks, Tom. I wanted to jump into the first question I'm going to ask, and then Chris, you jump from there. Is what's
Sure.
happening with Web 3.0, especially when you talk about augmented reality is part of what Web 3.0 is. It seems like AI kind of stopped Web 3.0 from finally going to the next level. Where do you see it, especially with augmented reality?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, generally, from a broad perspective, I guess, yeah, there's just a lot of different places for like ownership, a lot of content creation, and like who owns content in that space. We don't do too much with Web3 at this point, but yeah, there's lots of different opportunities with AR and kind of content ownership. Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah, and it definitely plays into that greater landscape that's starting to form now, which is that Internet of Things, right? We've
Yeah.
seen Apple come out with its own version of an augmented reality device. I think that was a big indicator for the augmented reality market to be like, okay, if Apple's joining into the race, then we know collectively, technology is going to be advancing that capacity. So,
Right.
um, love that fact. Could you just tell us real quick, actually, what your role and your capacity is with the Omnia, and what you do there?
Yeah, so I'm the CTO of Omnia, and basically what we do is we're basically a content distributor of, AR experiences, different, 360 environments, things like that. One big issue is like what you brought up is there's so many new devices that are coming onto the market, and it's a very fragmented place
Mm,
for content. So what we're trying to do is make it easily accessible on these different devices, whether it be web, mobile, Apple Vision Pro, Meta Quest, and any kind of newer uh, devices that come up on the market.
Wow. Can you
yeah. So make
define what augmented reality is? Because I think our
Yeah,
that's a great,
listeners and
great.
viewers might not know that.
yeah. So augmented reality is just a digital overlay of the real world. So there's a differentiation between virtual reality, which encapsulates your whole environment. Augmented reality is just a small facet that goes into your reality. So there's like a small, maybe overlay or hologram that is within your space, your existing space.
Right. So we've seen examples of that, like from back in like 2017, right, when Google Glass first came out, right? And
Yeah.
then followed by, I think Magic Leap was another big augmented reality company. We
Right.
haven't heard anything from them.
Yeah.
But now Microsoft with the HoloLens, right? That was a big indicator, and then now Apple, right?
Mhm.
So with that, you mentioned, part of the solution you're building is really just being platform agnostic, so that all the different needs of content for augmented reality, it doesn't matter which device, you can distribute it to wherever you need to be. And I think that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about how you guys started Omnia, and how did you guys get your humble beginnings?
Yeah, so actually, my co-founder Aldo started Omnia, and we met through a mutual friend here in Chicago. And we actually went on a founders retreat in
Hmm.
the middle of nowhere, Illinois, and we kind of discussed our passions about AR because I was in kind of an AR studio owner as myself. So
Mm.
Finding someone in common was like a very rare piece here in Chicago because AR is such a small niche topic,
Yeah.
especially in Chicago, because it's not very tech focused. There's a lot of finance and marketing, but to find Aldo in this space was really quite amazing. So uh, he was already building kind of this platform, almost kind of like a Fiverr for AR experiences and businesses looking to use AR for marketing campaigns and things of that. And Omnia has kind of since, changed over the time, as well as the AR market. So we kind of met through that, and we kind of been working together on just iterating and defining the kind of the future of AR and content distribution.
That's amazing. So how's that a vision sort of evolved to today? So, fast forward to 2025, what are those things that you guys are currently doing to really bring augmented reality to the public masses?
Yeah. So when we first started, it was just really about, getting content creators in front of businesses and kind of showing them what's possible with AR for marketing or, different use cases in their business. Um, After that, we kind of started focusing on content creation. So once we
Mm.
had, you know, these creators, we also wanted to create tools for them to create AR experiences. And as the market has shifted over time, there's new headsets that come out, like the Apple Vision Pro, which has kind of since been a flop, but there's always these
Yeah.
new different devices that are coming out. And we saw a huge problem with like fragmentation, basically creating specific experiences for a specific device. And
Mm.
essentially, we're trying to capture that market to make it, cross-platform or platform agnostic, so that, if there's a new headset or smart glasses, for instance, we're creating the future to allow for AR experiences across any headset that you have.
Right. So me as a content creator, I created this cool 3D art, and I want to showcase it on in augmented reality. I come to the Omnia,
Mhm.
use your augmented reality tools to put it in that space, and then I can deploy it to virtually any of those platforms, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, currently we have, our platform supports web, mobile, and then also some headsets as well. So like Apple Vision Pro
Mm.
and MetaQuest. So if you wanted to share, for instance, a 3D model or a 360 immersive kind of video, um, you can, deploy it one time and it's across all. You get like a unique
Interesting. Hmm.
link. You can view it on mobile, web, or also in the headset instantaneously.
Yeah, I mean this would have huge. I mean, I could see huge effects for this for entertainment, gaming.
Yeah.
There's so many verticals. What have you found has been sort of your core target audience so far up to this point where you've been providing value?
Yeah. So what we're really trying to do is just curate a large collection of different AR experiences. A lot of verticals that we're in is in real estate.
Okay.
Like car dealerships are a huge one too, where, for instance, they might not have the make or color of a specific model, but you want to
Hmm.
see that within the space and maybe open it up and see the different, configurations to pick your ideal car. Yeah, again, in real estate, there's additional pieces where you can go view 10 apartments in one sitting,
Yeah.
walk through in a virtual environment. So that's a big one. Immersive movies is also huge. So there's
Yeah.
360 environments and then also interactive movies as well. So that we're really excited about.
Wow. There's a lot of choices. And I think it just makes the brand look better, right? By
Yeah.
doing these things.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it has global impact, right? Just by providing this distribution network and platform, right? Um, So with that, right, what have you seen in terms of augmented reality's effect on businesses, right? I can see a retail owner having an augmented reality store and helping improve conversions. Is that sort of the different business application and use cases you're starting to see when augmented reality is implemented in a business case?
Yeah, a lot of kind of businesses that kind of use this as kind of marketing campaigns. So a lot of it is kind of like mobile AR, where they're creating
Mm.
small campaigns to either maybe show uh, a food item from their menu if you're a
Right.
restaurant, or things like the dealership that I was talking about with seeing the car, overlaid. Some of the bigger other enterprise use cases is like finding, anomaly detection on, production floor lines, right? So if
Right.
you're
In
walking
manufacturing
through,
space.
yeah, so if you're walking through a factory that creates cars, for instance, there's a bunch of different robotics, there's a bunch of different machines walking through that, as like you can see different anomalies, for instance, highlighting on a machine, and you can address those issues a lot more quickly if you're just walking by and not seeing additional information. So yeah.
That would be really awesome. So just for a general audience, right? So you mean to tell me we're starting to get to this point where I can have the Iron Man types interfaces somewhat in my workspace, helping me maybe even now that we have AI, right? Maybe a Jarvis on the side, similar. Is that
Yeah,
future we're heading into?
there are some, glasses out there that are close to that. We're not still at the level of Tony Stark, but we have these different glasses that, have different like small interfaces that give you information.
Mm,
You can talk with AI. You can project like little small, 3D models as well. And we're getting to that point, but the form factor is really the hardest thing. So I
mm.
think the big unlock for AR will be when we can get glasses that, interface with our phones and provide us, simple information, maybe help us visualize, different other things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, oh, go ahead,
I
Neil.
was going to say, where do you see this technology? Because of AI and the ability to do things so quickly, and do you expect this to come out pretty soon? That we're going to get to this level?
Yeah, it's hard to project just because of the different headsets, but there's a lot of competitors in the space, like Apple's in the game. There's a couple press releases that say they're kaputs with it, but I
Right.
don't fully buy that. We've seen reports of Samsung and Google doing a collaboration, maybe bringing back Google Glass. So there's a big resurgence of these big companies like Meta as well with the Orion glasses that they're putting significant funding into. And within I truly believe within like the next 5 to 10 years, it will be pretty huge. It
Mm,
won't fully replace like our computers or our phone, but it will be like an augmented kind of accessory, kind of like an Apple Watch tells you about health
right.
stats.
You don't think it's going to be community? You don't see community based of augmented reality where they're just going to another world and living in that world?
Well, I do think so. For instance, in virtual reality, like with the Meta Quest, I think there
Yeah.
is a huge vertical in gaming and different immersive movies that I think will really take off. I think there already is, like especially with gaming in the younger generations.
Mhm.
I do think that the consumer market will more likely adopt kind of like the glasses, AR glasses with simple information. Yeah.
So with the glasses, right? One of the big augmented reality research that I was doing was trying to understand the cultural adoption as it related to augmented reality glasses. As a glass owner myself, right? I'm already blind. They obviously should have some type of prescription in them. Should be comfortable, right? Over a
Yeah,
period of time. And then the biggest thing, right, that we don't think about, but is super vain, but is it fashionable?
it
Right.
is.
Yeah, and one of the things that I noticed recently was Facebook did a partnership with Ray-Bans to kind of create a similar augmented reality sort of setup. And I'm curious, how do you see augmented reality uh, transforming into our culture as it relates to fashion and maybe beauty industry? And because I think that has the implications for the large scale adoption, right? If we can make it fashionable, make tech sexy, right, so to
Agreed.
speak, then it makes it much more adoptable.
Yeah, no one wants to wear the big, Apple Vision Pro around, right? Like you need some kind of glasses like what you're wearing, Chris. And there are like some companies that are working on this. Like there's two companies in particular, Brilliant Labs and then Even Realities. Uh,
Hmm,
and I have a pair of Even Realities, and to be honest, you really can't tell that they're AR glasses.
really?
Yeah, and to be fair, they just have a small little interface, like a HUD display, heads up display, but you can talk with AI, get information about your routes, translate in real time, and they look like a normal pair of glasses. And I think
Wow.
that's where the direction is going. You'll definitely have to like look them up and just, they're very fashionable. They had like design focus first. And if we have big players like Meta or, Apple working on these sorts of things, I think down the line, a lot of people will wear them. So
Yeah, I mean, this makes this truly exciting. We have all these different tech convergences happening at once, right? We have the Internet of Things,
Right.
5G, 6G probably coming up pretty soon.
Coming.
Yeah,
It's
satellite
exciting.
network, global
yeah,
internet, then the AI, right? And then now we have all, and now we can miniature, which is just what you just said to me. Now we can miniaturize the augmented reality technology so much that we can integrated with clothing and fabrics and it be a part of our natural day to day. That is going to be the real future. And I absolutely love it that you guys are positioning yourselves to really capture those opportunities. What would you say in terms of how first, does your business do anything as it relates to integrating with the metaverse, Facebook's kind of side of things, or that uh, concept as it relates to the larger internet,
yeah.
metaverse? That's something that you guys like look at directly and you know helping out create virtual communities or those sort of things. Yeah.
I think long term, yes, we'd love to get into the space of, communities in this like virtual space. Right now, we're kind of mostly focused on just sharing, different content, whether that be, immersive video, 3D models, different WebXR games or experiences,
Yeah.
things of that nature.
Wow.
Okay. No, that's awesome.
All right.
And
So Tom, when I was talking at the beginning, and I might have threw you off of the first question. Now, when you had defined Web 3.0 2 years ago, it was
Yeah.
considered AR, VR, and then once AI emerged and AI integrated into this new democratized platform. Do
Yeah.
you see AR? Are you kind of pivoting and AR is not going to kind of do that merge with the whole thing when they define Web 3.0, or you think it's going to be skipped because of how AI is going so large? There are still people banking on Web 3.0 as the next .com. I think it's AI. I'm just
Yeah.
seeing it because I think that blockchain will never be mainstream for a while. I don't know. What do you
Yeah.
see? I mean, that seems like what your company's pivot is.
Yeah, I agree. I think Web 3.0 is very broad in that sense, where there's a lot of people throwing a lot of buzzwords together to get, VC money back then. And I do think there are some valid use cases, but I don't foresee a lot of use cases in the near term future for Web 3.0. Is when I think of Web 2.0 is like people have servers, they might rely on, like AWS or GCP to host their content. And then Web3 is kind of more decentralized, right? Where, they're on different chains and it's like a public chain. For us, it's not so much an issue about sharing, AR content. We have this centralized hub that we provide. Longer term for content ownership, though, I think I could foresee it being a big thing. If you create a 3D model or AI creates
Mhm.
something, and you own that particular asset, it makes it, that use case for Web 3.0 kind of valuable.
Okay.
Augmented reality NFTs. Is that something that you guys
And are the NFTs dead, Tom?
I
They're
think so.
not as popular. They're not as
not as
popular
popular
anymore.
anymore? Yeah, too many rug
Yeah,
pulls, right?
correct. Yeah.
No, just create a coin and then scam people, and there you go, and you're a multimillionaire. Like,
Right.
and
Awesome.
then get in trouble like the Hawk Tuah girl did. You
Yeah.
Oh
know,
no.
there you go. So, Tom, where's the best place we can find info on your company and stuff? Unless, Chris, you have another question before.
Just the last thing. What are just some key insights that you want to leave our audience with here today? Maybe if they're a new business owner or existing one and they want to get into augmented reality but not quite sure where to start. What are some insights there?
Yeah, just some insights. I think long term, you have to think about the strategy of how AR can be used. We're still kind of in the early phases, but it's on the horizon. So if you're a company in retail, different spaces, you should definitely consider using AR for your business to kind of draw attraction or media attraction. So
Right, to integrate it into our sales process, not necessarily as a maybe use case in terms of product, but the marketing side is really going to be the biggest thing. Okay, that's
yeah.
going to be awesome. Great. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Tom. Again, where's the best place to find Omnia and your company?
Yeah, you can find more about us at theomnia.io. So that's TheOmnia.io.
All right. Thanks, Tom.